Hi folks, we're Tassless today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about how easy it is to rig, particularly local elections, but as we saw in 2020 in the United States, how they rigged a federal and presidential election and Senate elections. That still staggers me to this day, how they, not only how they pulled it off, but they have so far, no one's actually done prison time for it, which is absolutely incredible. But anyway, just looking more at local elections, I've noticed some news articles that are appearing online about how a judge in some middle of the out in the middle of nowhere in the United States, or a small district in a mid-sized town or something has led a murderer, someone who's murdered multiple people, or has got a rap sheet as long as 100 convictions long, and the judge lets them out. And you look at the judge, it's invariably a DEI judge, nearly always black, nearly always female, but female anyway, if not black. So now there are some gay judges or screaming leftist judges, and judges that are just simply compromised as well. But it's particularly, I'm focusing here on the sort of the super DEI judges. Now, here's how do these, because in this particular level of the judge has to get elected, so someone's got to vote for them. Now, there's not many voters in this particular district. It's a local type election, like in a town, and so you might only get a turnout of 5,000 voters to vote, just across for all the candidates combined. These would typically be, more or less similar between Democrats and Republicans. So one time the candidate gets 60% and the other guy gets 40%, or vice versa. So 20% of 5,000 votes being cast is only 1,000 votes. So it's not much. So any group that was quite determined, particularly subversive elements, determined to rig and fix the election, then they can do it without that much trouble. And I'll come back to why and how in a minute. But now, as you know, in sort of small time America, the globalists and the left and the activists are extremely focused on making sure that black, lesbian, DEI judges get elected into an all-white area, or an area that doesn't have many black people, where it's never had a black judge before, or not a black female judge, and so on. Now, they're not that fussed. Remember, they want to humiliate the white population. So they want to put the dumbest judge they can possibly find, and the one that would be least likely to win on any sort of merit. So the black female judge, some of whom are lesbian, would have like a snowball's chance of winning in any real competitive race. So what do? They want that person in there to humiliate you, humiliate the white population. That's what they want. They want to show you you're not in charge anymore, and we can put whoever we want to in these roles. If we want to put a black lesbian with an IQ of 70, we can do it. All your institutions we're going to trash. Everything that you hold dear in terms of rules, regulations, standards, everything, we're going to fuck it all. And there's not a damn thing you can fucking do about it. And we're in charge now, and we can do these things if we want. And they do. And so they can, so an organized group, well-funded, can move into an area, and they'll pick the dumbest black lesbian chick they can find, and say, okay, you're our candidate. And they've only got to find 1,000 or so votes. So they'll go to the nearest college or university, or in the black community, into the community centers, whatever. They'll just go to young white girls, young white lesbians. They'll go to the LGBTQ. So they'll be agitators, will fan out across every little area where they can get votes, and they'll effectively offer. I don't think you could legally stand up as bribes, but inducements to vote. And these agitators, who are reasonably good, I've met some of the agitators, they're actually quite good. They're quite well trained. And they come across as sensible and reasonable people that are only saying, well, what's wrong? It's time for a black lesbian. do we have equality in our society or not? I mean, are we going to let the Nazis keep on running? And so on. So it's not difficult for them to sway young, simple-minded people, particularly young women and black people, to go and vote, and effectively bribing them to do it. Hey, look, why don't you come down to the voting place, on whenever the vote day is, and look, we're having a nice lunch. We're doing hamburgers and hot dogs with and so on. It'll be really good. They're all for free, and so they come down for the hamburgers and hot dog. While they're on their way, they cast a vote. So it's this sort of methodology that's used, and others used for inducements to get them to come along. And so they get 1,000, 1,500, I don't know, something in that order. Young kids to come along, voting age. Maybe some of them, quite a few of them, are probably illegal aliens as well. But anyway, they get enough people to come along, like to cast their votes, and then they've the black lesbian, IQ 75 chick is now the judge, having won the election. Now, this is a subversion, but no one's going after it or stopping it or preventing it. It may not be obvious at first because these groups are good at working under the radar and so on. But I can't believe that it would just totally escape the notice of the authorities. So they've either they can't be bothered, they want to stop it. The activists have got to the local judges and police chiefs or whatever in the area, local politicians. So no one's going to oppose it or stop them. And so it appears that this low IQ black lesbian chick won the vote to be a judge. And as soon as the judge gets in there, then her position, she sees, is social justice. That's all it is. Is it putting criminals in prison? No, you got to be kidding you damn fucking white supremacist Nazi. The job is social justice, and so it's letting black murderers off, without bond or bail or without, with a slap on the wrist and all this sort of stuff. Or if there's any people that are protesting ICE or trying to prevent ICE from deporting illegal criminal aliens, and this judge will be appointed to hear that case, and she'll let them off with again, at most, a slap on the wrist. Now, when you get this happening in too many places, and again, these aren't senior frontline judges like the Supreme Court or the Appeals Court. They're in the regional, in the sticks, out in the less populated areas and so on. But those subversive activist groups descend on these areas to make sure. Now, they've done a study. It's quite clear, because if you look at the places where they're operating, they say, okay, we've only got to find 500 votes here to swing it, and we can put whoever we want into the job of the politician, or maybe a senior role of some sort of judge or whatever it might be, head park ranger. I mean, that doesn't matter, but to make sure those jobs go to the least deserving people. Now, the rest of us, the citizens, we assume that the thing, it's not a high profile election, so maybe we don't go. So even though there's 50,000 voters registered, maybe only 5,000 or 6,000 are going out. So if everybody did vote, then it would be far more difficult for the subversive elements to get in there and undermine the integrity of the election. But given the turnout's so small, and they know it's unusually small for that area, then they've got that chance to subvert, because there's not the numbers coming in. They don't have to overwhelm a big majority. So they just put out a few placards that this chick's up for election. No one really takes any notice. The next thing you know, you've got a black, low IQ black lesbian, and that's the senior judge for the local county. And people might go, holy fuck. But then it's done. It's done. And you could say this legitimate election, but it really wasn't. It was one that was subverted and stacked by activist groups. Now, again, these activist groups work under the radar, and they're very good at it, what they do. And they're fanning out all across the United States and the Western world generally, making sure that pro-globalist people of all sorts of flavors, shapes, and sizes are getting elected. And the people that would normally, under a high-trust, homogenous society, be elected, don't even get a look in anymore. And it's part of a wider subversion tactic. And what can I say? It's working. They are winning. We are not. And whereas we believe in right and wrong and the integrity of the system. These people don't. The system is there to be corrupted and subverted and otherwise torn to pieces. As long as we think the system is there serving us, then these other subversive elements, they've won, and I think they're already winning now. You've been with Tacitus today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.